So I think now is the time to have a very, very genuine conversation about Dandelion and Burdock, because it is a goated drink. I was sitting there with a massive cold glass of Dandelion and Burdock watching North Wrestling. I was like, you know what, these, more so than a pint and wrestling, I can get on board with Dandelion and Burdock and wrestling. Now I know that's probably just isolated me from probably a good 99% of the viewers of this video, but you know what, we've just got to go back for Dandelion and Burdock, guys. Let's get it at more shows. I want more Dandelion and Burdock at wrestling shows. Let's make it happen. Hello and welcome to FTTR, I am you McQuaid, and today we are talking about North Wrestling NCL.58, the world at large. Is that right? It finally dropped on Triller TV, and I watched it in its entirety with a nice glass of Dandelion and Burdock. And this was a show that I was looking forward to. There were some bangers on this show that I was looking forward to. There was some good story progression that we've seen. We'd just seen a Rhio heel turn, and now she's in a big match with Natalie Sykes. We've got a non-title match between Munny and Myles Kayman. That's going to be an interesting one right there. And yeah, Scotty to Hotty, the Garlands were over on North Wrestling. It was a lot of stuff on this card, a big old stacked show, and overall, I had a goddamn blast. I thought this was a very, very enjoyable show with some killer matches on the show as well. One in particular that I think was an absolute banger, an under the radar banger that I did not necessarily see coming, and we'll talk about that in just a little moment. But before we do, please subscribe, please like this video, please comment your thoughts down below, and I'll try and apply to every single one of them as we dive into this. Starting with the show overall, like I said, it was a blast. It was a really, really fun, succinct, precise show. It was like 2 hours and 20 minutes, a breeze to get through, and I enjoyed everything on the show. Absolutely everything. And they're building towards Leeds. Leeds is looking stacked. Absolutely stacked. You've got some insane matches on the Leeds show, and this was a good way to build into it. I think we're going to establish some new teams, some new contenders. It was a really, really well done setup for Leeds, and it stood on its own as a wrestling show overall. But we're going to dive into every match, every angle, everything that happened on the show, starting with Tom Campbell announcing the show and doing a great job at it. But he is interrupted by Michelle Mathers, the wife, the partner of Mark Mathers, and she came down to the ring. She was cutting a promo. She was getting Vicky Pollard chants. Now, for anyone who's not in the UK who doesn't know who Vicky Pollard is, I'm going to put a picture of Vicky Pollard above my face, and you guys can, assume why Vicky Pollard chants were made. And yeah, Mark Mathers comes down to the ring, and he is having a match with Kemper. So this was not a long match at all. This was a very, very quick match, to be fair, but it got a little bit of offense in there for Mark Mathers because he exposes the turnbuckle with the help of Michelle, which gets Kemper's back thrown into it, and he gets to work over Kemper for a little bit of time. But Kemper is an absolute unit, and Kemper destroys this poor man. He hits slams, he hits boots, he then hits a choke slam and an F5 for the 1-2-3, picking up a definitive, decisive win, which I think Kemper has needed. I think Kemper has needed to sort of rebuild here. We're going to go into the main event stuff later, but I think this was a very dominant win and a very good use of the Mathers as well. And Kemper looks strong coming out of this. I have no faults with this. This was a very, very short, very succinct, to the point match, and did exactly what it needed to do. Next up, we got a match that I was really intrigued about, and that was Rampage Brown and Will Cruz taking on HMD and Joe Wade. Now, set up from the last show was that Joe Wade and Hardman Dan, they've had a falling out. They've been feuding since the Kegstacker Invitational at Thunderstruck, and last month, they had an interaction in which Joe Wade was reluctantly put into a tag team match with Hardman Dan himself, going against Will Cruz and Rampage Brown. And I really, really like the story of this match. And the story of this match was that every time HMD was in the ring, he was just getting battered. He was getting battered pillar to post by Cruz, by Rampage. He would use a few underhanded tactics to sort of get the advantage. He'd use the wrist tape to sort of pull back the face of Will Cruz at one point. But as soon as he did that, he just tagged in Joe Wade, and Joe Wade went in there and started actually wrestling. He was hitting great leg kicks. He was working over the leg of Will Cruz. He managed to hit a beautiful Absolutely beautiful spiral tap as well for a near fall, which was really, really well done. And yeah, it was just these offhanded tags that HMD would make to Joe Wade. Every time Joe Wade seemed to get some sort of advantage and get the upper hand, he would just slap him on the back, come in and not really help his team, building to the ending of the match, which saw Rampage Brown in the middle. And it looks like maybe HMD and Joe Wade are on the same page. They've got Rampage Brown in the middle, they're hitting him from either side, but each time they do it, you can see a little bit of Rampage sort of fire up, and you see HMD go, I don't want any part of this. And he bails. He leaves Joe Wade in the ring. Joe Wade gets hit with a huge spine buster, and then the Tower Cruise, I think it's called. No? Why can't I remember the name of the finisher? Cruise Day Device. I got it. I didn't need to look at my notes. For the 1, 2, 3. And Rampage and Will Cruz pick up the win. I think that's probably going to lead to some sort of rematch with Trent and Clint down the line. And I like the way they're building this HMD and Joe Wade feud. It's very unique, very well done, and I'll talk about it now. There was a great promo from Joe Wade as well later on where he is just pissed. He's pissed, he's frustrated, he's had enough of HMD. We're going to get that match soon. I think that's going to be really, really good because, yeah, push Joe Wade to the moon. The guy's awesome. I really enjoyed this. This was such a fun tag match. Next up, we got Nathan Black versus Mo Actor, and yeah, this was really fun as well. This was a really fun contest. You have Nathan Black coming down to the ring and just ripping the crowd, getting on the mic, doing what he does best, and he's in there with Mo Actor, and he's underestimating Mo Actor. He's putting over his own size, he's doing the flex, he's doing the pose, tossing him around, pushing him to the floor, and yeah, just sort of getting in the face, being that arrogant, cocky bastard. You then get a nice bit of a flurry when Mo Actor just fires up. He starts wailing some strikes on Nathan Black, getting a little bit of a comeback, but ultimately it's Nathan Black who picks up the win here. The right decision, 100%, because I think just, again, push Nathan Black to the moon as well, because I think Gene Munny versus Nathan Black would be an incredible feud. I would love to see a promo battle between Nathan Black and Gene Munny. That to me has gold written all over it. And yeah, just establishing Nathan Black. He's got a match with Michael Oku coming up, which I think is going to be awesome. Yeah, I thought this was, again, really effective, did exactly what it needed to do, didn't go too long. Pitch perfect execution. Then we got the Joe Wade promo like I just talked about, and we then had North Wrestling Tag Team title match as Clint Margera and Trent Seven took on Scotty 2 Hotty and Keegan Garland. This match was great. This match had everything you could want. You want comedy, you want hard-hitting strikes, everything you could want out of a wrestling match you got here, and I really loved the way it was executed. Scotty 2 Hotty and Keegan Garland just being hilarious at the beginning, Trent wanting to face the old man, so Scotty 2 Hotty takes ages tagging in, building up the crowd, building up that chant, and then he gets in the ring and goes in there with Trent Seven, which is a weird thing to say. That feels like a match that I never thought I'd see as Trent Seven versus Scotty 2 Hotty. But they went in there and they did some fun stuff. Then it sort of spills to the outside. You've got an accidental shot of Trent chopping the ring post. Clint Margera does the same thing. Then they push Scotty 2 Hotty in the way of Keegan Garland. Keegan Garland, man, he's quick. He is a quick guy, and he was hitting some really fast kicks. He hits this awesome drop kick through the ropes, but accidentally hits Scotty 2 Hotty. Then he gets pushed into the ring. He starts getting worked over by Clint and Trent. Then Scotty 2 Hotty makes the hot tag. He starts wailing on both guys. He goes to hit the worm, and he goes to hit the bulldog to set up the worm, and Trent accidentally goes to the wrong corner, which was hilarious. It was objectively hilarious. Everyone was dying, and he manages to come in, and then Scotty 2 Hotty just gets more offense in. Then Keegan comes in. Keegan manages to hit the worm. He hits a great worm as well, and that seemingly sets up, the good guys, the Garlands, to pick up the win. But you had this really cool finish in which Scotty 2 Hotty does the worm. He goes for the chop, but Trent pulls him onto the ropes, throat first onto the ropes. He then pushes him back into Clint, rolling elbow, bop and bang, Birminghammer, 1, 2, 3. Clint and Trent pick up the win. I thought this was great. This was a great tag title match. It's really cool seeing Scotty 2 Hotty and Keegan Garland, man. He was awesome. He was awesome. An absolute revelation. First time I've ever seen him wrestle, and I was like, this guy's got potential for days, for months, for years. It was awesome. Really cool tag match. Really enjoyed it. I want to see the rematch between Rampage and Cruz. Rampage, Cruz, and Trent and Clint. Let's make that happen. Give it a big step as well. Oh my god. That'd be awesome. Really want to see that. But yeah, North Tag Team title match was very, very fun. Then we had my match of the night. Judas Gray versus Man Like Dries. Now, I love both guys, but obviously, middle of the card, Judas Gray, Man Like Dries, no title on the line or anything like that. I was like, okay, this is going to be a good match. They went out there and put on an absolute goddamn banger. This was insane. This was such a great match. It was fast-paced. It was high-flying. It had everything you could want out of a match with these two guys, and then some. This went up to 11th gear. I absolutely loved this match, and I could tell I was going to love this match because you had this bit at the beginning where Man Like Dries whips Judas Gray into the corner, and Judas Gray sort of springs back out and hits a clothesline of his own. Then you have springboard lung blowers. You have this awesome rolling senton that Judas Gray does to the opponent's back while they're bent down, which looked absolutely sick. You had Man Like Dries hitting a matrix cutter, and then Judas Gray hitting what they called, not a package pile driver, Canadian destroyer. I'm lost for words. This was so cool. But this awesome sequence in the middle where they were just doing insane move after insane move. And then it got towards the end as well. And I really liked that they told Judas Gray was going to the well one too many times because he hit, once again, that rolling senton to the back. And it looks like he's going for the springboard long blower again. He does that and then gets caught in the sharpshooter by Man Like Dries, reaching back. And then as he does that, he manages to get a near roll up for a really good near fall, and Man Like Dries manages to lock in the sharpshooter again. He's pulling back. He hits a 450 as well, which I thought was the end, but then Judas Gray kicks out, which I thought was awesome. Like, keep this going, and they really, really did. Man Like Dries manages to lock in the sharpshooter and manages to wrench back and make Judas Gray tap out. This match was sensational. Absolutely sensational. It's exactly what independent wrestling is all about. I can't talk about this match highly enough. I thought this was a standout. From where I thought the match would be to how it delivered, exceptional stuff. Man Like Dries is awesome. Judas Gray is awesome as well. Yeah, let's see where this goes. Man Like Dries probably pushed into that North title scene as well. I loved it. This was an absolutely fantastic match. I highly recommend you go out of your way to check this one out. Then we got an open challenge as Liam Slater comes to the ring, still in the Leon Slater merch, the youngest in charge merch. And who is he going to be facing but Eve Bateman? Eve Bateman comes to the ring, his IRL wife, and looks like they're going to fight. The ref's in the ring. This looks like it's ready to go. Liam Slater just leaves the ring, goes to the back. That's it. No Liam Slater other than this appearance. Eve Bateman is pissed. She beats up some of the yellow shirts around the ring, and then she cuts a promo later on talking about how, she's trying to tap into the wrestler side of Liam Slater. And yeah, I'm intrigued. I'm really intrigued by this story. I think it could be really, really, really like heartfelt to an extent. I think if you really play up some of the soap opera stuff with this, with them being husband and wife, and maybe the match itself, I think the match itself could be really, really good and really play on some emotional stuff as well if they go there. I thought this was great. I thought this was a really effective angle. Next up, we got a triple threat between Zio Knox, Henry Faust, and Kohei Kinoshita. Kohei Kinoshita from DDT. I'm not as familiar with DDT as other Japanese promotions, so this is my first experience of seeing Kohei. He's cool. He is a cool guy. He's got a great look, great gear, great moveset. They were doing some really, really good stuff in here, some really cool, innovative moves, and working it like a three-way dance rather than a singles match where one person rolls to the outside, because you've got some really cool bits in there, like Kohei locking in like an octopus stretch on Zio Knox, and as he's doing that, Henry Faust is just chopping the face of Kohei to try and get him break the hold. I thought that was really, really well executed. Kohei manages to hit like a spinning, bridging last call, which was really cool, and then he powers up Zio Knox, hoping to do the same to him, but Zio Knox is, massive and collapses Kohei, crumples him, if you will. But then you've got some more innovated offense from Kohei, as it looks like he's going to be brought up for like a spine buster, but then he springboards like his back on the ropes, hits a tornado DDT on Rhio Knox, that was damn fine. Then towards the finish, you get this really interesting bit towards the end where you've got Faust and Kohei just going after one another, doing this great striking exchange, ending with Henry Faust hitting a big spinning Michinoku driver to Kohei. But to ruin the fun, Rhio Knox comes in, clocks Henry Faust with a mallet. 1, 2, 3. Big boo. It was a well executed finich, but this is one match that I wish had gone maybe another 5 minutes, because I think it had more in it. I think it had more near falls, more frustration maybe from Rhio Knox. I feel like this match had a little bit more left in the tank. Maybe we'll get this further down the line. I'm not sure how long Kohei Kanishita is going to be in sort of the UK, whether this was a one-off or if he's sort of over here on an excursion. But I'd love to see more of him, and I think this could be a great feud to run back the triple threat as well, because I feel like it had more left in it. I wish it had gone maybe another 5 minutes, but yeah, Rhio Knox winning that way I have no problem with, because he's a bastard, obviously. Yeah, so no complaints there, just wish it was a little bit longer. Then we got that Eve Bateman promo that I talked about earlier, and then we had Rhio versus Natalie Sykes. Heel Rhio. Now, as someone who has been watching Progress for a long time now, Rio's never really been a bad guy in the time that I've been watching Progress. She's never really been a heel. She's sort of been a bit of a tweener at times, sort of in the Kanji feud recently. It was a little bit shades of grey. Here she's a bad guy. She is a bad guy, and she's going up against someone who's incredibly likeable in Natalie Sykes. And I was a big fan of this. I was a really big fan of this. I like cocky, arrogant Rhio, and just the swagger that she brings to these matches, sort of the way she was walking around the ring, slowing the pace down, stopping any form of offense that Natalie Sykes gets going, and just, yeah, being a bit more methodical than she usually is when she's babyface. And there was this great bit where she got in the face of someone in the crowd as well, which was really, really cool. And they sort of brawl forward, and then she just throws Natalie Sykes into the ring post. She's like, it's a bit more of a brutal Rhio, and I really like that. Natalie Sykes is great as an underdog as well. When she was doing some of the sort of babyface stuff at the beginning, she's really good at getting you behind it. The crowd were massively invested in Natalie Sykes, and they were chanting, for Natalie Sykes. And when it came towards the ending, when Rhio was just hitting her with every move under the sun, like a pump handle powerbomb, a big super kick to the face, then it looks like she's going to hit the package pile driver. When Natalie Sykes rolled her through and pinned her, my jaw hit the floor. I think a lot of people in the crowd's jaw hit the floor, because I didn't think Rhio was going to lose this. I really did not. If you'd have given me this card, and I feel like I probably did do my predictions for this, I can't remember, but I would have said Rhio was going to win. Having Natalie Sykes pin her immediately, is that going to be a chip in the armour? Is that going to be sort of like break the facade of this badass Rhio? Is she going to become less confident? I think that's an interesting way to do it, because you very rarely, you usually see a heel turn, they win a load of matches. Having Rhio lose at the first hurdle, I think, is a very unique and very interesting way to go, and I'm intrigued to see where that goes from here. Natalie Sykes could potentially be in a three-way with Alexis Falcon and Rhio. Maybe Alexis Falcon and Rhio are going to team up. There's a lot of different avenues to do with sort of the women of North Wrestling as well. I'm really, really excited for this, and I think it's going to be great coming out. I think it's going to be a great decision in the long term. People might say that, having heel Rhio lose this quick is a bad thing, but for me, you know what? It hit the surprise factor and the potential. I really liked it. Then we got a backstage promo where Rhio Knox calls out Amir Jordan for Amir Jordan's next North Wrestling show that he will be at. They're going to have a match seemingly in the very near future. Then it was announced that James Storm would be at the North Wrestling Weekender. That's very cool. Beer Money all the way. And then we had the main event. We had Gene Munny versus Myles Kayman in a non-title match. Now, this was advertised as a non-title, which I think in my predictions I put Myles Kayman because of that, but wrestling logic, am I right? They have a really good promo off. Like, Myles Kayman runs down the fact that, Gene Munny injured him. He's the reason he's been out. He's the reason he's had to pay for all this therapy, this rehab. Gene Munny says, it's a shame you were injured, but also you're being a bitch about it. And then when Myles Kayman brings up that Gene is not as good as Leon Slater, that sort of gets to Gene. You can see behind the eyes, you can see that maybe he feels that doubt himself. And I thought that was a really nice, interesting piece of character work. He accepts Myles Kayman's challenge to put the title on line. So we have a North title match. We have Myles Kayman versus Gene Munny for the championship. And this match was awesome. This was a really, really good main event. Like, I liked the storytelling in this. Myles Kayman working over the arm, destroying the arm of Gene Munny throughout so that he can't hit that Ainsley Lariat, and also sort of symmetry to what Myles Kayman's got going on as well, because he's got the tape on his arm from where it was injured. I really liked that symmetry there. The match starts out as a big hockey fight. They're just brawling in the ring, and then that's when Myles starts working over the arm. He sort of wraps the arm around the turnbuckle and just wrenches it back, and he is really being relentless on some of these shots and just, destroying the arm so that Gene doesn't have that Ainsley Lariat. But then you have Gene making some comebacks. He hits a Death Valley driver. That was really nice, and building towards this awesome Avalanche Falcon Arrow that Myles Kayman did. It looked picture perfect. Great near fall. You then had Myles spit in the face of Gene Munny, which looked gross, and then wrench back on the arm. He's locking in the arm bar. He's stomping on the arm of Gene, and Gene is just selling it really, really well. It was a great piece of visual storytelling, and it all built really well because it built to this moment in which Gene powers up Myles Kayman with his bad arm and hits like almost an inverted electric chair drop. It looked amazing. It was really, really cool. Then you have them sort of brawl on the outside. Gene then decides to target the arm of Myles Kayman, the injured arm. He drops it on the ropes. Then they get on the apron, and Myles Kayman hits this brutal looking golden driver to Gene on the apron, and Gene looks out of it. He gets rolled into the ring, near fall, and that sort of makes Myles snap. He doesn't know what more he can do other than go to the well of his opponent. In the vein of John Cena and AJ Styles, he decides he's going to hit a big Ainsley Lariat on Gene. He goes to do that, but is countered by an Ainsley Lariat from Gene Munny for the 1, 2, 3. Gene Munny retains the title. Really great match. This was a really good main event. I love both guys. I think Myles Kayman is a great main event wrestler as well. He's got such potential. And I love the story they told. It was nice, it was simple, it was effective. Then Gene goes to the back. Myles Kayman's sitting in the ring. He doesn't really know what's left for him. But we all do. Because who should come out but Kemper? Kemper comes down and he squares up with Myles Kayman, gets in the face of Myles, and Myles rolls out of the ring. We are elongating this feud again. I can't wait for this match. I think this match has been built so well, and I think it needs a stip now. I think you really need to put some sort of stipulation on there to make this feel even bigger and really blow off this feud, because I think people have just been waiting, clamouring for Kemper to get his hands on Myles Kayman. I think it's been really well built, and it capped off what I thought was a really solid, logical, enjoyable show. I had such a good time watching the world at large. It was insanely cool, insanely fun, and overall I'd give it probably 4.25 out of 5. I thought it was hell enjoyable, and a great way to spend your time if you are into British wrestling. Stay tuned, because I will be covering the lead show as well. If you like North Wrestling, there is a playlist as well on my channel of all my North Wrestling reviews, so you can check out every review for every North show in 2025. That's a good thing. Remember that. Now, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let me know if you were there. Let me know everything you want about North Wrestling in the comments below, and I'll try to reply to every single one of you. Thank you all ever so much for your support, and have a nice day.